Hey, friends. We usually don't issue any sort of content warning or anything. But we just recorded this show and wanted y'all to know that
if you're listening with your kids, once we get to the Mormon stuff,
we go
for whatever reason, a lot of dick jokes happen.
It goes a little blue. Everybody will probably be okay, but we just thought we'd let you know. Let's get on with
fun.
this.
Merry Christmas.
Bye.
Hey, everybody.
Hi, guys. Well, from beautiful Salt Lake City, Utah,
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
the podcast.
I'm Frank Feldman.
And I'm Dan Beecher.
And coming up on a shortened version of the show today, we got on the second half of the show, we got some Mormon news.
Yeah, we're truncating today because Frank's not feeling well. He's going to power through for you.
Yeah.
But we're not going to make him work
Yeah.
as hard as we normally do.
I got my little pile of lozenges.
Yes, you do.
And I will try to very quietly enjoy them.
He's going to have lozenge mouth.
Yeah, it's an assortment of flavors.
It's a
I never know
melange.
what I'm going to get.
You don't.
Oh, it's so exciting! This one looks like it's from the '80s.
It might be. We got it.
Dan's sharing his lozenges, with me, so
Which
thank
I
you.
never
Thank you, Dan.
even use. So
You don't?
No.
Well, clearly this one's
From the
old.
80s. Yeah. All right. Should we dive into some stories here?
Yeah. I would like to start
Okay. I'll allow it.
with a story about some pissed off religious broadcasters.
Aren't all religious broadcasters just sort of in a perpetual state of pissed off?
By default,
Yeah.
the outrage seems to be their preferred mode. But no, they're starting an internet freedom initiative
Oh.
because they feel like the Googles, the Facebooks, the Apples of this world are all stifling their free speech on the internet. That the Facebook algorithm now spots their stories as fake news and filters them out. They're worried that Google, with the likes of its YouTube service, is filtering out videos that have been posted. Specifically, they use as an example Prager University. Are you familiar with Prager University?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of
It's one of those great non-accredited religious nonsense places.
Right, super conservative in its views. Well, anyway, they post some very, actually well-produced videos.
Okay.
They're good-looking videos. They sound good.
Yeah.
Lends a lot of credibility to the bullshit that they're saying.
Sure.
I watched one about progressive taxes that got the whole thing wrong.
Right.
But
boy,
it's a terrible example as like their whole crux for their story.
But it looks slick.
But it looks slick and got my blood boiling.
Yeah.
Well, apparently, these videos, there's about, according to these kind folks, there are about 40 videos right now that are being restricted out of the 250 that they have posted on YouTube.
Oh.
And YouTube has gone on record and said that they don't actively engage in censorship. That's not what YouTube does. You post it, it goes up. But the community can flag stuff.
Right.
And so if the community's not liking what you're putting up. Right? That's kind of what's happening.
Right.
And maybe some people are, like, to be honest, like, I didn't watch all of them. You can actually go find, they've hosted these restricted videos elsewhere now. So you can go watch them. That's what I was doing earlier when I was watching a video just to try to figure out why this explanation of what ISIS is would have been removed.
Right.
I think that people are probably just flagging stuff, not fully knowing what it is. There was nothing that I could find in it that was offensive.
Yeah.
It was through a very conservative lens.
Sure.
Right. And but beyond that, I couldn't really pick out what would be offensive. There was no sexual content. There was nothing.
It's so weird. I think that, like, people on all sides of the sort of identity politics culture war just go on campaigns of flagging, and they just on Facebook or whatever, if they see a post that doesn't agree with them, They just flag it, just sort of reflexively. And people on our side do it too. And
Yeah,
I'm guessing
and it's wrong.
That's what's happening. And it's totally wrong. Don't do that. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are listening at home and you're just flagging things because they're Christian
And you disagree with it.
and you just sort of want to fuck with them, no, that's not how to do it.
That's called you're being a troll.
And trolling is bad.
I don't know if that's officially exactly what trolling is.
No, but I mean it's in that neighborhood.
But you're misusing the internet.
Yeah.
But here's the other thing is these companies, they need to start taking more responsibility for the content that they have on their sites. And that is something that Facebook is trying to do with this algorithm and whatnot.
Sure.
But YouTube probably shouldn't just be leaving it entirely up to the community.
No.
And any site that's like allowing the community to police it.
The community is the worst.
Yeah, we know this. People are awful. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyway, so that's going on.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of funny that they would feel like that their voice isn't out there enough.
I want them to
These
feel
people are
that
fucking nuts.
I want them to feel this way because I want the conservative Christians in the fight against for net neutrality. I would love them to be in that fight because it's all of their senators and Congress people that allowed the net neutrality rules to go away.
I know.
So I would love for them to be fighting for net neutrality. That'd be great.
Well, yeah, it's a bipartisan issue.
Yeah,
It's just
should be.
the members of Congress didn't really get the memo on that one.
Well, they got the memo. The memo just came from Verizon and Xfinity and Comcast, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to move us along to. Have you heard of this thing called the United States military that they got out there? There is a. We obviously have a fairly extensive military, which includes people of all stripes, and the Military Religious Freedom Foundation, which we've discussed before. It's an organization sort of fighting for secular rights within the military, which is an uphill battle. One of their most recent battles is with Maxwell Air Force Base and the Air Force Enlisted Heritage Hall, which is a museum on the Air Force Base in Alabama. And it basically sort of talks about the history of service and the accomplishments and sacrifices of enlisted men and women in the military. And there's one little exhibit that has raised some ire, and that is it's a sort of a case with some military uniforms in it, and one of the uniforms is sort of a person depicted. It's not a human. But it's standing next to a blue flag with a white Christian cross on it. It's a Christian flag.
Okay.
And next to that flag, there is a sign, a little not even a placard. It's like a framed 8.5 by 11 piece of paper that's been printed.
Sure.
Which sort of explains what the flag is.
Oh.
And here's what it is, apparently. Quote, "This Christian flag is significant because it was rescued from the ruins of an American chapel that ultimately found itself situated in the demilitarized zone separating North and South Korea. In 1960, a young A1C, I had to look that one up, that's Airman First Class, Luke Holcomb, was assigned to post along the demilitarized zone. From his duty section, he could see what remained of the chapel and was fascinated by the sight of the U.S. and Christian flags leaning against the rear corner of the building. One night, he and 3 friends swam across the river, separating them from the chapel, and at the risk of death, they liberated the flags."
Oh, dear God.
It was his wish that the flag be displayed in the blah, 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 blah.
Oh, boy.
Okay, so, some people raise the objection that, like, it kind of looks like promotion of a religion by the military, which by the U.S. government,
Right.
to have this there. But there's a better objection.
Well, I think wasn't he probably disobeying orders?
Well,
Are they celebrating this guy going and doing something that he shouldn't have done?
possibly.
I mean,
But it's also probably not possible that this story ever actually happened.
oh no. What?
Yeah, well, I mean, so there are some very serious problems with it, including the fact that the DMZ was created in 1953. So if this story took place in 1960, that means that flag had been out in the weather for 7 years.
Yeah. Well, it's a miracle flag.
It is a miracle flag because it looks perfect.
Oh, it's not all tattered up?
No.
Oh,
It's
I had something
bright,
in my...
bright, gorgeous blue with a pure white cross, no holes, no tatters. The fringe looks nice.
Yeah. Okay.
It's beautiful and not remotely plausible.
He's a liar.
It's a fucking lie. So there you go. You've got
Airman First Class, what was his name?
Airman Luke Holcomb, liar.
I'm calling him out right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So some people raised a fuss about this, and at one point, a representative of the museum read through the thing and said, as a result of your inquiry, after looking, this is an email, I guess. After looking at the framed wording, I concur that the dates in the story seem inaccurate. We have removed the photo of the wording from the exhibit, as well as from our Facebook page. Nothing about we have removed the flag, of course. That would be crazy. But, yeah. Although, apparently, it showed back up.
The wording.
Yeah. So now it's back.
Oh, my God. These people.
These people, man.
You have to protect these legends.
Well, what happened was someone else stepped in, and that someone else is Jay Sekulow. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but he's one of Trump's former lawyers who is ahead of up high up in the American Center for Law and Justice, or the ACLJ.
What is
and they specialize in getting really pissy about Christian things not going their way. Their whole specialty is about getting people to sign petitions that are almost invariably straw men petitions, not actually don't actually deal with the real thing at hand. But man, if you say, hey, they want to take a Christian flag out of a case at a war museum, yeah, you're going to get a bunch of signatures.
Yeah.
So they're putting on some heavy pressure to keep all of that, to preserve our fake heritage as Christian heroes.
Good. Needs to be
Very important.
preserved.
Yeah.
All right, Dan. Mm-hmm. The Johnson Amendment. We all know this. At this point, I think we all know what the Johnson Amendment is.
We should probably just brush up people's memory. The Johnson Amendment is the never enforced but oft discussed element of the IRS, of our tax code, that says that someone from the clergy can't go blathering on about who you should vote for from the pulpit.
Right, exactly. It's supposed to keep the politics out of our churches.
Right, and it also applies to just nonprofits in general.
In general, yeah.
Because that's not appropriate.
No,
because nonprofits are technically actually a function of the government. We don't charge them taxes because they are technically an arm of they're like a civilian arm of they're not actually government agencies, but they're similar to a
so to speak. Yeah.
So to speak.
Yeah.
So we don't tax.
Nobody
them.
ose them.
Right.
Technically, I guess in a way they might belong to the people.
They belong to all of us.
Yeah.
Because we don't. That's the deal.
Right.
We all get to participate in that.
All right. So there's that.
Yeah.
Well, conservatives hate this damn thing.
Of course they do.
They want to be able to like preach about whatever they fucking want to preach about over the pulpit. They want to be able to endorse candidates.
How
they want
dare
to tell
you
their
tell
people
me
how to vote.
Right.
Right. And they'd also love for their churches to be funnels for dark money. They would just love that.
Oh my God,
amazing,
yes.
right. Well, it looked like they were going to get their way.
Oh.
There was an amendment on this big tax bill.
Right.
It's being shoved through Congress and down our throats. That was going to do an amendment to end the amendment.
Right.
Once and for all. And that attempt has now failed. They actually decided that the amendment was not germane to the issues at hand.
Well, and there you go.
And so this fight lives to see another day. They'll fight. This is not over.
No.
This was just what looked like was going to be a very easy attempt to get rid of the Johnson Amendment.
Right. Well, and you hinted at the thing that was really getting scary about this, because frankly, a pastor saying, "Hey, I think you should vote for blank," is troubling, but not horrific. But
is you probably already know who your pastor wants to vote for,
right?
If you know
the pastor can say it a million ways without actually saying,
right.
So, I mean, that didn't bother me anywhere near as much as the possibility that seemed very real that was happening of people being able to give copious amounts of money to a church and the church funneling that money to a candidate. And that is far more dangerous. And that is
well, the whole idea of dark money, churches don't have to say they don't have to reveal who's donated to them.
Right.
Right.
So what it would mean is that, people could essentially give anonymously unlimited gobs of money to whatever candidate they wanted it to.
Uh-huh.
And currently, they can only do that. They can only kind of sort of do that through Citizens United and super PACs and stuff. But you can usually trace the money back somehow to the specific person and that sort of thing.
A church would make it really, really fucking hard. So.
Indeed. All right. Well, I'm going to take us to Egypt.
Ooh, beautiful Egypt.
Yes, where a little-known Egyptian pop star, Shaima.
I bet not little known in Egypt.
I don't know. I read one thing that said that she was sort of a minor player.
Okay.
In the Egyptian pop world. Well, she's getting pretty major now. She's making headlines across the country because she was convicted and sentenced to serve 2 years in prison for making a music video in which she very racily interacted with fruit.
In what way?
She had an apple that she sort of seductively
nibbled at,
licked and
licked.
Yeah, nibbled at it a little bit.
Oh my!
And then she had a banana, and you know how things go once you get a banana.
What was she doing with the banana?
I think she sucked on it a little bit.
Oh, okay. So shoving it up anything.
No. And she did hint at removing her bra. She pulled one strap down.
Boy.
Yeah.
So she has a banana that she's kind of she's being a little sexy while she's eating a banana.
Yeah. She was being quite sexy. I watched some of the video and she was definitely being very sexy.
She was going for it.
Right.
This was not to be misunderstood. You think?
No, although her apology makes it sound like she says, "I apologize to all people who saw the clip and were upset by it and took it in an inappropriate way." Well, kiddo, you suck on that banana. We know what you're doing. And apparently that's a no-no in Egypt.
You cannot suck on bananas?
In a land where women are not, how do you say?
Boy, there's so much to learn about this whole Sharia thing. Because, I would think sucking on a banana would be the least of Muhammad's concerns.
Yeah, you would think. I'm still baffled by the thought
how
that
did he even know what a banana was? How when all this?
He wouldn't have known what a banana was.
Have. So I think this is a stretch.
Yeah.
This is a stretch.
It says nothing about filleting a banana in the Quran.
That should be her defense.
I've read all the sutras. I don't know. The surahs. I don't know what they're called.
It's not the sutras.
No, it's definitely not that. No. Yeah, you're right. Nothing about filleting bananas. It's totally fine. Yeah, she was arrested last month over the video, and then I think the sense that I get is that this couldn't have gone better for her, other than the prison sentence, which that's not great.
Right.
She will probably be appealing that. But in the meantime, all the publicity, are you kidding me?
Oh, yeah.
She's doing great. Everybody's watching the video now.
Oh, I bet.
You gotta know they are. I watched it.
Yeah.
It's a terrible song.
Is it?
I'm not. Yeah, it sounds like.
Is it screechy?
No, it's like. It feels a little bit like the start of an 80s sitcom, maybe? I don't know. It's not sexy. The music to me there was nothing sexy about the music, but she's cute, so she, go have your fun with your fruit.
Yeah.
Young lady.
That's amazing. All right. Well,
if you ladies and gentlemen have anything that you'd like to say about
fruits that you enjoy
and how you enjoy them, you can write into us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you could call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
It is indeed. Go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist.
And while on Facebook, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge. Request to join. It's a closed group, but we'll, let you in.
We will.
So, Dion.
Yeah.
Kevin Swanson.
K-Swan.
Who is this guy?
He's that pastor. He sort of rocketed to stardom a little bit ago. He's this whiny-voiced pastor who he's super against the gays, and boy, do they love that.
And apparently he was pro Roy Moore.
Well, because he's really good at life.
Yeah,
that's why.
So anyway, let's take a listen.
Yeah, he has a take on why Moore might not have won.
Yeah.
The 2016 assessment of pornography sites have found that the top 3 states that spend the most time in pornography are Mississippi, Alabama, and Arkansas. And that's the most recent from 2016.
Yeah.
So again, friends, as we consider the reasons why a state would tip towards Doug Jones, we've got to conclude that that state probably has significant sexual problems, especially since Doug Jones is so in favor of sexual perversion, transgenderism, and homosexuality. Evidently, the state of Alabama must have a problem with sexuality, obvious. Now, Alabama having the second largest time spent on porn sites of any other state in the union. Apparently, it's no surprise Pornhub reported that the top 3 states with longest average visits in 2015 were also from the South. States where a majority of residents agreed with the statement, "I have old-fashioned values about family and marriage," typically bought 3.6 times more subscriptions per 1,000 people than states where a majority disagreed with that statement. So,
wow.
Again, friends, there's a problem with hypocrisy in this country. It goes deep. It goes very, very deep. Granted, the internet pretends that anonymity, but it's really not anonymous. And so the internet stats reveal the hypocrisy of the conservative, quote-unquote, Christian population in America. And I think we need to come back to that again and again and again. Unless there's a spiritual awakening, I think these conservative states are going to become liberal in their moral values within another 5, 10, or 20 years. If the fathers are doing pornography, the kids are going to turn into homosexuals. The fathers will hide their sin, and the children will come out of the closet with it. By the way, the top porn search word in Alabama and Mississippi is lesbian. So another indication that the father's generation is dabbling in porn. The children's generation will go head over heels for some of the most egregious sexual crimes that men ever engage in.
Doing pornography.
I love the phrase head over heels in this context. Oh, those kids are going to go head over heels for this.
Head over those damned heels.
It's the bee's knees. Lesbian porn. Oh, my gosh. I love that they are actually, like, calling out Christian hypocrisy. Mm-hmm. Because that's what we do all the time. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because it's ever present. Where there is Christianity, there is rampant Christian hypocrisy.
Yes.
In part because religion is just sort of designed to work against what is basically human.
It's a hypocrisy creation machine.
Right, really. Exactly. You just, as soon as you develop one of those rules that doesn't actually gel with what the human experience is,
right.
Boom, you got your hypocrites.
Ding,
and then,
ding, ding.
And then you can keep calling them to repentance.
Yay.
Stop doing that human thing. You better come back in here. You better give me more money. You're being very bad. Mm-hmm. Very, very bad indeed. Shame on you. Oh, well, there you go.
Alabama, watching lots of lesbian porn.
I know. Lesbian porn has apparently saved our part of our country. That should be the headline there. Lesbian porn has managed to do something that nothing else seemed to be able to do, which was to prevent a pedophile scofflaw from becoming a United States senator. Oh, thank God for lesbian porn. And I mean that sincerely.
I've never had much use for it myself.
No, I don't imagine you have. Nor most of my lesbian friends don't. That's for us straight guys.
Right.
That's what that's for.
Right. You don't actually want to see lesbian porn.
No. We want to see two hot girls doing things that we imagine lesbians would do.
Right.
Matter of fact, most like girl-on-girl porn, like lesbians would find it unrecognizable to their own sexual mores. Hey, we're gonna skip because we're doing this shorter, truncated show. We're not gonna do emails and voicemails and that sort of thing. But we do need to thank some folks,
some new donors on Patreon.
Now there was a bit of a kerfuffle on Patreon, and we should just briefly acknowledge that Patreon made a horrible decision and made everybody furious.
Right.
And some people, people lost. We may have lost some of our donors over the whole thing.
Indeed.
So, but they've since rescinded. Mm-hmm. They have mea culpa'd. They have said, we're sorry, we're not going to do that. We do have, if we miss you, if you decided to donate this week or recently and we don't thank you or whatever, please write into us. Let us know about it.
Well, because
it's a chaos.
What ended up happening was a lot of people were adjusting how much they were giving.
Right. And in what way?
In response to the fact that the fee structures had sort of changed and the burden had been shifted over to the supporters, right? Which is totally wrong.
It's ridiculous.
I wish Patreon would have just taken a poll of the community,
just ask
of the content creators, because we would have all known this was the wrong thing to do.
Yeah, pretty much everybody would have said no to this.
Exactly. And then when they undid it, they sent out another email, and so all I have is just all of these adjustments, and their reports are not all that great. So I've gone through, and I believe I found the actual new donors this week, the people to thank. We have 2 new faithful supporters, Amparo and Tor. We have a new beatified listener, Sakashite.
Okay.
Oh, I just got it. They made me say it. I hope that was...
Now there's...
I see it all now. The last name's bad too. You jerk. All right. And then it's Sakashite Fukasum. Oh no, I thought it was
Fucks your mom?
Fucks Your Mom, I think is where it's going.
There is someone in Japan who's really mad at us right now. That is a real name here.
I hope that's not true. And we have a new sainted listener.
Oh, okay.
Kirsten.
Oh, Saint Kirsten.
So thank you very much, guys.
Bless you, Saint Kirsten. And
Bless all of
and
you.
Bless
Thank you
all
so
of you.
much.
And do you know whose name we're blessing them in?
Angela.
Our Lord and Savior.
Angela.
Continuing.
Reigning supreme.
May
Blessing us all.
Blessed be she, and blessings upon you in her name. Amen.
Amen. So, Dan.
All right, yes.
The Mormons.
We have just a couple things.
Yeah. I got a little story here
Yeah.
about them fiddling again with sort of some of their policies with regard to their youth.
Oh yeah.
They are worried about their youth.
They're losing the youth.
They know what's going on. They know that young people these days are leaving religion in large numbers, and Mormons have done a pretty good job. They have a decent retention rate generationally.
Yeah.
Young people do tend to stay in the Mormon church. Cults have a way of getting their claws into you.
Well, yeah. I mean, when your entire family would just be devastated if you even considered an alternative, it makes it harder to consider the alternatives.
It makes it hard. But more and more people are leaving the church.
It's true.
And so one of the things that the church has decided to do is to allow 16-year-old boys who hold the rank of priest in the Aaronic priesthood.
That's one of those wacky things about the Mormon church. Priest means nothing. Do not be impressed by the word priest in Mormon church.
So this is 16, 17, and 18-year-old boys, let's be clear. They are now...
You have to have a penis, that's for sure.
Indeed. They are going to be conducting the proxy baptisms in the temple. These are the baptisms for the dead,
right?
The very famous baptisms for the dead,
right? And now, so before at that age, you could be. So this is memory from my childhood. You could go as a young person, as a teenager, and be baptized in proxy for dead folks.
Yes,
that was something that you could always do,
right?
But you couldn't perform that function.
That was always a Melchizedek priesthood holder.
Right.
Who...
There's all the different priesthoods.
Right.
You guys, it's dumb.
So it was an older man.
Right.
And he'd be there. Usually, I mean, this is somebody who came with your group.
Right.
The youth go to the temple usually as part of like a ward group.
Right.
Right. They don't just go on their own.
No.
So one of the adult chaperones, he would perform these baptisms, and then one of the women who came along would sort of have towel duty.
And just sort of hang back and distribute.
Yeah.
Towels.
Yeah. Well, that is going to be. Now the 16-year-old girls are going to be able to do towel duty.
Oh,
because they had to give something to the girls.
Yeah. Oh,
right.
That's
it does
nice.
feel like they're not giving kind of an equivalent thing.
No.
But then why should that surprise you? Because they're not equal.
It's not an equivalent thing.
Men are so much more special.
Men get magic powers. Women get to clean up. That's the rules of Mormonism. Men are magic. Women are domestic. that's how that works. So sounds like they did it perfectly.
Yeah, they're getting to participate in their in doing what their divine calling as a woman would allow them to do.
Oh, good for them. They're
That's a big deal.
This, by the way, I was made aware of this just last night at a family Christmas gathering, a big of my in-laws, where this announcement because this was read as a letter over the pulpit to everybody apparently, and it was tearfully recounted at this event because if nothing else, Mormons are weepers.
Oh yeah,
anything that happens, they just it's just such a beautiful thing, and you young boys and you young men and young women can eventually, when you get old enough, you can help participate in the temple. I'm just so happy.
It's just psychotic.
It's so stupid. They are weepers. They are criers.
They do.
Let me tell you something. Men who have killed their emotions in their daily lives completely, yeah. who won't cry at their mother's funeral, maybe their mother's funeral, but certainly show no emotions at home,
right?
Other than just like, hey kiddo, sort of things, will get up in front of their Mormon congregation in a sort of public speaking environment, right, and blubber like babies. Because it's a cultural thing. It's so weird.
Well, here's a good question, because I knew your dad. Yeah. I mean, my dad does the same thing. He gets up and gets weepy, right?
My dad never did.
He never did?
No. I saw my dad cry once at his mom's funeral. Literally at his mom's funeral. And he made a cute, adorable joke about it. He said, I hope
they actually work.
Hope I don't leak too much while I'm giving this little eulogy or whatever. It's the most adorable thing in the world.
He never got up.
No, my family were not weepers. My family were the intellectuals. They were the intelligentsia of Mormonism. They weren't the type to get up in front of everybody and weep. But in general, Mormon culture is quite...
Yeah, but they're still subject to the culture.
Yeah? I don't know. Just didn't take for them that part.
All
right. My Mormon story... because we decided to end with Mormonism, is about a Mormie leak.
Oh, Mormie leak!
The Mormon Leaks website has been up and running for a while now, and there for people to sort of as an anonymous way for people to shuttle documents that they think the world should know about. From within the impenetrable walls of the Mormon church office building or whatever. This one's not new. This one is from the 1980s. But interesting, this one is, it is called, let me pull it up. I'll just pull up the actual thing. It is called, it's a little handbook, like 8-page little handbook called simply Homosexuality. Whew. You ready?
Yeah.
Brace yourself.
Okay.
Because we're going to learn all about Frankie here and his disgusting predilections.
They're so gross.
By the way, so this goes into the position of the church on homosexuality, of course, but also it tells us the causes of homosexuality.
Good.
You'll be glad to know that was demystified back in 1981 by the church.
I wish... God, I wish I'd been paying attention.
Right? They do start that section, by the way, by saying professionals do not agree on the causes of homosexual behavior. However, most professional research supports the view that homosexual behavior is learned and is influenced by unhealthy emotional development in early childhood. And then they go to the old tropes of, emotionally distant dad and overbearing mom. All of those things. Disturbed family background is what they call that little section heading. Poor relationship with peers.
God.
Yeah. It's delightful. It's quite a thing. homosexuality, it says in the intro to this whole booklet, is of grave concern to the church because, 1, it violates the Lord's eternal plan for man's progress by perverting the proper use of procreative powers and loving relationships. You're perverting loving relationships, Frank.
Sorry. I didn't mean to. That wasn't what I was trying to do.
Yeah, it was. It debases it deprives God's children of the happiness and fulfillment possible only in family life. Well, now I'm perverting God's plan.
Well, we knew that for a long time.
Because I'm not doing the family life thing. It debases and demeans those involved. I mean, I think we can all agree on that.
How does it? Oh, I know how it debases.
You do know.
Yeah, I know how it debases.
Because you use the wrong hole.
Yeah, it's really debasing.
It's yuck.
Yeah,
it's yucky.
Ew,
it's yucky.
Why do they do that?
What you guys do with your holes?
Lord.
And it is sinful as heterosexual. It is as sinful as heterosexual adultery and fornication, and it may involve violent or criminal behavior. Maybe.
Depends on where you are.
That can't happen with heterosexuality, by the way. No,
violent
that
behavior?
that can never get violent or criminal.
No, never.
Never.
Well,
anyway, it's a cute little pamphlet.
Yeah, first you have to. Never mind.
This was what was sent out, by the way, to the priesthood leaders of the church, to the bishops and the stake presidents and everything. And it gives good guidance for counseling to them.
Oh God!
Some of these seem a little suspect to me. If a young man comes into a bishop's office, and a handsome older man, perhaps sitting there in a position of authority, it says establish a warm, positive relationship.
Oh.
It's getting sexy.
We've all seen this before. People in Alabama have definitely seen this scene before.
Yes, indeed, they have. They know.
They've watched that exact porno before.
Right. Avoid labeling is an interesting one, actually, on this.
Labeling?
Yeah, because what we don't want to do is label someone as a homosexual when really what's happening is they are just afflicted with homosexual feelings or thoughts or whatever.
They're still heterosexual because heterosexual is the only real thing.
That's the only real thing.
It's only real.
So it's just a matter of there's a a good heterosexual person in there somewhere just clamoring to get out.
Right. Oh,
we'll help you. Discourage homosexual associations. Really, you think?
Yeah.
Apparently you're not supposed to go to the club. And prepare the member against homosexual temptation. So, I guess sing a hymn, elder, is the key. Anyway, this, as you know, you had interactions that were heavily influenced by this pamphlet.
Oh, I never told any ecclesiastical anything that.
Oh, really?
That I felt anything homosexual. I was way too smart for that.
Well, if nothing else, your dad probably was influenced by this pamphlet.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
So when you told him, his reaction was probably partly influenced by this.
Yeah, but he still wanted to hire a prostitute to fix me. So
that is the best story in the world. The cure.
Have we ever told that story?
I don't know, but you need to. You went to your parents. You said, "Mom and Dad." Which one did you say first? I'm leaving the church?
Well, okay, so they actually sat me down.
Oh.
Right. And they were like, "We know you haven't been going to church." I was like, God damn those stupid BYU wards.
I know.
That bishop, that is a complete violation. He had no business calling my parents.
Yeah. Tattletales all, the Mormons.
Yeah. So he tells my parents that I'm not going to church. And so they sent me down to ask me about that. And I go, well, I don't believe in God. It was just, I oh yeah, I'm not going to church because of this.
Because of
That
this,
makes
right.
total sense, you know.
And
then we talked about that for a long time. And then at the end of that, my dad says, well, at least you're not a homosexual. And I was so pissed off by the whole thing at this point that I was just like, well,
about that,
actually, yes, I am. And then that started a whole nother conversation, during which he comes out with this offer to hire a prostitute for me, because surely one time with a female prostitute.
let me tell you something. Once you touch that vagina, there's no gay left in you.
Yeah, there's no going back.
There's no going back.
Yeah. Anyway, my mother was mortified. I was mortified. I think in retrospect, he probably has to be. He'd be mortified to know that I was telling the story, actually.
Right.
Yeah,
I just love that. That is the best solution.
It's.
I mean, at least they weren't like
unbelievable.
do the shock therapy thing.
Right. No, like, I mean, his had a better chance of working than anything.
Right.
Right. Like, it was actually a pretty good idea.
Absolutely.
But, come on.
Yeah.
And he'd been, and so like, I remember my mom was like,
I don't know.
how
what
would you even know where to go find the prostitute? Right. And he was like, I was bishop. I heard confessions.
Yeah,
I'm like,
although
oh,
one
boy.
wonders about the state of prostitution in rural Oklahoma, but that's neither here nor there.
Oh, guaranteed it was some truck stop.
Oh,
she would have
sure.
been. I mean, this was the 90s. It wouldn't have been meth. What would it have been?
She wouldn't have been doing well.
She would have been cracked out of her mind.
Yeah,
Right.
something.
And it would have been awful and disease ridden. You know.
Oh, I just found another thing that I had missed the first time. I was just sort of glancing, looking for another thing on this homosexuality thing. Found something I'd missed.
Okay.
And it's beautiful. There's a section called Overcoming Masturbation. I don't mean to step on your story, by the way.
I was done.
We felt done, right?
I was just still speculating who the prostitute would have been.
Right. Her name was Rhonda, and she would have,
She was from.
she was 47 years old.
She grew up in Holbert.
All right. Overcoming masturbation. Masturbation is a sin, but is not homosexuality when practiced alone. So that's good to know. Because you are having sex with another person of the same sex.
That's
or with a person of your sex because it's you.
Don't worry.
When individuals of the same sex masturbate each other, it is a homosexual act. So that's a good distinction. I'm glad that they were able to make that distinction. And you know,
My hand, my penis, not gay.
not gay.
My hand, somebody else's penis, gay.
Right. It's like that. Did you watch
Pretty simple.
the Bruno movie with the Sacha Baron Cohen? Was it the movie or was it the show? It might have been on Ollie G's show, where he's talking to a pastor who specializes in ex-gay and like trying to and gay conversion and whatever.
this, yeah.
And he says, "So what you're saying is, because he was talking about like, you know, what if you are at the gym and you just take a shower and you're with a bunch of other naked guys?" And he's like, and he says, "So what you're saying is, if I take a shower with another man, this is at the gym, it's completely okay. But the second I put his penis in my mouth, I've crossed some sort of line." Oh, ladies and gentlemen, homosexuality is a beautiful thing.
It is a beautiful thing. I love it.
I would like to come out as 100% in favor of homosexuality when and where it can happen.
Absolutely.
And with that, I think we'll send you all back into the wild.
Yeah.
If you guys have anything you'd like to say about the beauty of homosexuality or the sinful nature of it, please feel free to write into us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you can call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Yep, go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist, and click that like button.
And while you're on Facebook, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge and request to join. It's a closed group. That's what makes it really awesome.
Yes, indeed. And speaking of Facebook, thanks to Mackenzie for all of her hard work on the page, and to Sarah, Danny, and Amy for their awesome work as moderators on the Members Only Lounge.
And thanks go out to the Red Rock Hot Club for the use of their music, and Gordon Johnston for the use of his music.
Yes, indeed. And thank you, dear listener, for tuning in. We sure do appreciate it.
Bye-bye.